What if the coincidences you experience were more than mere accidents? Imagine that the events that seem disconnected, no matter how trivial, do not happen by chance but are filled with meaning, waiting to be recognized. Think of that moment when you were thinking about someone, and that person unexpectedly reached out. Or the time you stumbled upon a book that offered exactly the answer you were looking for. These episodes are like whispers from the universe, signs that something greater is at play, something that connects the visible to the invisible. Carl Jung called this synchronicity, a concept that challenges the idea that everything in the universe is governed solely by cause and effect. Synchronicity is the intersection of the inner and outer worlds, where seemingly disconnected events come together in a meaningful choreography. It is the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, a reminder that our lives are part of a larger, interconnected, and mysterious flow. In this space of reflection, we will explore what synchronicity means, how it operates, and what it reveals about our relationship with the universe. We will talk about its origins, how it manifests in our daily lives, and how we can cultivate the sensitivity necessary to perceive it. We'll dive into its relationship with the unconscious, spirituality, and even science, as we discover how these meaningful coincidences can transform our journey of self-discovery. More than just a psychological concept, synchronicity is an invitation to a new way of living, where attention and intuition become compasses in a universe full of meaning. Synchronicity, in Jung's view, is not just a fascinating idea but a profound reality that challenges our conventional perception of the world. Essentially, synchronicity means meaningful coincidences that have no causal connection but carry profound psychological or spiritual meaning. They are not explained by linear logic but by the impact they have on our consciousness. Think of that moment when you were thinking about someone you hadn't seen in years and suddenly found that person in an unlikely place. Or the day when a problem that seemed unsolvable was magically solved by an unexpected event, almost as if the universe had aligned to help you. These experiences are not rare. They happen frequently, and when noticed, they leave us with a sense of wonder and connection. For Jung, these coincidences are not mere accidents. They are reflections of a greater harmony between the microcosm, our mind and inner experience, and the macrocosm, the external universe. It's as if there exists an invisible symphony connecting our inner life with the world around us, creating moments of resonance that lead us to a deeper understanding. Synchronicity, therefore, is a language. It speaks through events, signs, symbols, and patterns that defy direct causality. But this language requires something from us: attention. To perceive and interpret synchronicities, we need to be open, present, and willing to see beyond the obvious. The universe seems to respond to our willingness to listen, revealing hidden messages in what we call coincidences. This perception leads us to a provocative question. How many of these signs do we pass by unnoticed? How many messages do we ignore because we are caught up in routine or the mindset that everything is simply random? Perhaps the key is to cultivate an awareness that even in the most simple events, there may be a greater connection waiting to be deciphered. The concept of synchronicity did not emerge out of nowhere. It was shaped by Jung's personal experiences, his therapeutic practice, and even collaborations that transcended psychology. Jung began to observe that seemingly inexplicable events would happen with his patients at critical moments of their journeys of self-discovery. These events not only coincided with the emotional states of the individuals but also seemed to carry a message or a significant revelation. One of Jung's most well-known accounts of synchronicity is the episode of the golden scarab. During a session with a particularly skeptical patient who had described a dream involving a scarab, Jung heard a noise at the window. When he opened it, he found an insect very similar to the one described in the dream, a golden beetle, which he handed to the patient. This moment marked a turning point in her therapeutic process, challenging her purely rational view of the world. For Jung, it was a clear example of how external events can resonate with inner content in a meaningful way. Jung also explored synchronicity in his collaboration with physicist Wolfgang Pauli, a Nobel laureate. Pauli was interested in the connection between quantum physics and psychology, and this partnership expanded the understanding of synchronicity beyond the realm of the mind, suggesting that the physical and psychic realities are interconnected on a fundamental level. The idea that the universe operates in patterns that link the material to the immaterial was a cornerstone of this intellectual exchange. For Jung, synchronicity was not just a curiosity, it was a manifestation of the interconnection between the conscious, the unconscious, and the outer world. It was also a powerful tool in his therapeutic practice, helping patients understand the complexities of their lives and find meaning in seemingly random moments. These stories and experiences show that synchronicity is not something that happens to you, but something that happens for you, as if the universe is creating an opportunity for you to see and understand something deeper about yourself and your journey. Synchronicity also has a deep connection with the unconscious, both personal and collective. Jung believed that the unconscious was not just a storage space for forgotten or repressed experiences, but a vibrant space full of symbols, archetypes, and energies that shape our lives in subtle and sometimes surprising ways. When synchronistic events occur, it's as if the unconscious is manifesting in the external world, creating a mirror between what is within and what is outside. Archetypes play a crucial role in this process. Archetypes are universal patterns of behavior and meaning, present in all cultures and ages. They inhabit the collective unconscious, the deepest layer of our psyche shared by all of humanity. When we experience a synchronicity, we are often being guided by an emerging archetype, which expresses itself through symbols or events in the external world. For example, dreaming of a journey may coincide with an opportunity for travel or personal growth, activating the archetype of the hero. Synchronicity also reflects aspects of our shadow, those parts of ourselves that we prefer to ignore or repress. A synchronic event may bring something to the surface that we need to face or integrate. Imagine, for example, someone who avoids confronting their anger and repeatedly encounters people who seem to bring out this feeling. These encounters may not be coincidences but manifestations of a shadow calling for recognition. Synchronicity, in this case, acts as a mirror, reflecting what we need to see in order to move forward on our journey of self-discovery. Dreams, in turn, are often a fertile ground for synchronistic experiences. How many times have you dreamed of something that later manifested in reality, unexpectedly? Jung reported cases of patients whose dreams contained symbols or messages that connected directly with later events. This doesn't mean predicting the future, but rather grasping deeper patterns that connect the unconscious to the flow of life. These moments are invitations to listen to our unconscious. They ask us to pay attention to the signs, to interpret the symbols that arise, and to recognize that there is a greater intelligence, whether spiritual, psychological, or cosmic, operating in our lives. It's not superstition, but a dialogue between what is hidden within us and what the universe reveals. Synchronicity is not just something that happens in extraordinary moments or personal transformation crises. It also permeates our everyday lives, appearing in small coincidences that, when noticed, connect us to a greater sense of purpose. But to recognize them, we need to cultivate a sensitive attention and be willing to observe the patterns that form around us. Consider simple situations such as finding an unexpected solution to a problem you've been trying to solve for days. Perhaps a seemingly random conversation reveals exactly the answer you needed to hear, or a book that fell by chance into your hands brings a profound insight. These synchronicities often leave us with a sense of wonder and a feeling that something is aligned. But if we're not attentive, these moments may pass unnoticed, confused with mere luck or chance. Everyday life is full of opportunities for synchronicities. It might be the moment when you hear a song whose lyrics exactly reflect how you're feeling, or when someone mentions a word or idea that seems to connect with something you were thinking. These small messages are not random. They arise to remind us that we are embedded in a larger web of meaning. The question is, are we listening? We live in a world where distraction is the norm, where rush and routine obscure our ability to notice the details. To perceive synchronicities, we need to slow down and create space for mindfulness. When you are present in the moment, patterns begin to reveal themselves. Keeping a journal, for example, can help you identify these patterns. By recording your thoughts, dreams, and daily occurrences, you can start noticing connections that once seemed invisible. The provocative question here is, how many messages has the universe already tried to send you, but you didn't notice because you were too busy or too skeptical to see? Synchronicity is a reminder that life is not a series of isolated events, but an intricate tapestry where each thread plays a role in the greater design. The relationship between synchronicity and science, particularly with modern physics, is a fascinating territory that challenges traditional divides between spirituality and empiricism. When Jung collaborated with Wolfgang Pauli, the connection between synchronicity and quantum physics began to emerge, suggesting that the laws of the universe might operate in ways that we are just beginning to understand. In quantum physics, The double-slit experiment offers an intriguing insight into the relationship between consciousness and reality. In this experiment, light particles such as photons behave like waves or particles depending on the presence of an observer. This suggests that the simple act of observing directly influences the behavior of matter. This revolutionary discovery raises fundamental questions about the role of consciousness in the universe. Could our attention or intention somehow shape the events around us? This principle may be a key to understanding how synchronicities occur, connecting what we think and feel with what we experience. Jung believed that synchronicity demonstrated an acausal order, a connection that does not follow the traditional laws of cause and effect, but which is profoundly meaningful. This concept resonates with the idea of quantum entanglement, where particles that have once been connected remain intertwined, regardless of distance. What happens to one affects the other instantly, as if space and time were not barriers. Perhaps synchronicity is a manifestation of this entanglement, not just at the subatomic particle level, but on a broader scale of human experiences. Science, contrary to what many may think, does not invalidate spirituality. It can amplify our understanding of it. While modern physics explores the mysteries of the universe, it offers new languages to discuss concepts that spirituality has contemplated for centuries. Synchronicity, in this context, can be seen as a convergence point between science and spirituality, an indication that there is something deeper connecting all phenomena. This invites us to reflect. What if synchronicities were signs that we live in a universe where consciousness is as fundamental as matter? A universe in which what we think, feel, and desire can influence the patterns of our experience, aligning us with a greater order that we have yet to fully comprehend. Spirituality has a long tradition of exploring phenomena that we can now recognize as synchronicities. Ancient practices and profound philosophies like Taoism have been addressing the alignment between the individual and the cosmos for millennia. Jung, for example, was deeply influenced by the I Ching, an ancient Chinese divination system that is based on the idea that the universe is in constant flux, and that events, no matter how random they seem, reflect underlying patterns of balance and meaning. In Taoism, the concept of Tao, the principle that governs all things, offers an interesting parallel to synchronicity. The Tao is the universal flow, the natural way that connects all things. When we are in harmony with the Tao, our actions, thoughts, and experiences align with the balance of yin and yang. This perspective resonates with the idea of synchronicity as a reflection of alignment between the inner world and the outer world, between the microcosm and the macrocosm. Jung also explored spiritual practices as ways to amplify our sensitivity to synchronicities. Meditation, for example, helps quiet the mind and connect us to the present moment, where the signs can be revealed. During a guided meditation, you might focus on specific questions or intentions, creating a receptive state to catch messages the universe may be sending. This is not magic, but an exercise in mindfulness, training your consciousness to perceive patterns that would otherwise pass unnoticed. Journaling, or reflective writing, is another spiritual tool that can help identify synchronicities. By jotting down thoughts, dreams, and events of the day, you create a record that makes it easier to notice patterns over time. It's common for people to, upon rereading their journals, see connections that weren't evident at the time the events occurred. Simple rituals can also enhance the connection with the flow of synchronicity. Lighting a candle and reflecting on a moment of meaningful coincidence, or expressing gratitude for small signs perceived during the day, are ways to honor this dialogue with the universe. These practices don't directly generate synchronicities, but they cultivate a state of consciousness that allows us to receive them more clearly. These spiritual approaches not only help us perceive synchronicities, but also teach us something fundamental: the importance of trusting the flow of life. They invite us to recognize that the universe is constantly speaking to us, and that synchronicity is one of its most subtle and mysterious languages. Synchronicities can take many forms, and each carries a unique purpose. Jung observed that these meaningful coincidences often manifest in moments of transition, doubt, or searching, guiding us in ways that seem to transcend chance. Identifying the types of synchronicity can help us understand how these experiences play a role in our journey. One of the most common types are warnings. These synchronicities alert us to challenges or decisions that are coming, offering a glimpse ahead so we can prepare. Imagine, for example, being faced with an important choice and, at the same time, repeatedly encountering references or symbols related to a specific path. These signs should not be ignored, as they often carry messages of protection or guidance. Another type is confirmations, those coincidences that reinforce that we are on the right path. Perhaps you are starting a new project and that same day, you receive an unexpected message of support or meet someone who offers exactly the resource you needed. These synchronicities act as a kind of nod from the universe, a subtle yes that validates our choices. Opportunities also manifest through synchronicity, connecting preparation with circumstance in almost magical ways. Think of times when you were searching for something, a solution, an idea, or even a person, and suddenly that thing appears in your life as if it was waiting for the perfect moment to reveal itself. These experiences show how synchronicity can create connections that seem orchestrated by a higher force. Finally, there are synchronicities that catalyze profound transformations, completely changing the course of our lives. These may come in the form of unexpected encounters, pivotal events, or insights that resonate so deeply that they force us to reconsider everything. These experiences are often associated with moments of crisis or awakening, where something new needs to emerge within us. To deepen your relationship with these synchronicities, a practical exercise is to reflect on significant moments in your life and identify how these coincidences help shape your path. Take a notebook and list experiences that seemed inexplicably aligned. Ask yourself, what message did these situations contain? How did they influence your choices and journey? Recognizing and interpreting these different manifestations of synchronicity is not just an intellectual exercise, it's an act of trust. It's accepting that we are connected to a greater flow, and that the universe, in subtle ways, is always guiding us to where we need to be. Synchronicity is more than just a curiosity. It is a force that can guide us on a journey of deep self-discovery. Jung believed that these moments of meaningful connection were not random but expressions of a larger process of personal growth, what he called individuation. This process is the path to integrating all parts of ourselves, conscious and unconscious, towards psychological and spiritual wholeness. Imagine individuation as a heroic journey, where the goal is not only to achieve external accomplishments but also to find inner harmony. During this journey, synchronicity acts as a silent guide, showing us where we are on the path and what we need to face or integrate. These synchronistic events can be seen as milestones that help align our ego, our conscious identity, with the self, the deepest and most complete part of who we are. Many inspiring accounts highlight the transformative role of synchronicity in people's lives. Think of someone who was in a moment of crisis, directionless, and suddenly an unexpected encounter or seemingly simple coincidence led to a new opportunity or deep insight. These stories are not uncommon. They illustrate how synchronicity can operate in crucial moments, guiding us to discover new paths and meanings. A notable example is people who find their calling or life passion through synchronicities. Perhaps they received repeated messages about a skill or talent they were neglecting, until they finally decided to explore it, transforming it into a central part of their lives. Or those who, in the face of loss or challenges, found comfort and clarity in signs that connected them to something larger, allowing them to move forward with renewed purpose. Synchronicity can also show us where we are still stuck, confronting patterns that need to be broken or traits that need to be integrated. These moments often require courage, as they ask us to look within ourselves and face aspects of our psyche that we have been avoiding. However, every synchronicity that arises, especially during these moments, is an invitation to transformation. This journey of individuation, guided by synchronicity, is not about achieving perfection but about becoming whole. It is about recognizing that each encounter, each sign, each meaningful coincidence is an opportunity to align more deeply with your essence and with the flow of the universe. For synchronicity to manifest more clearly in our lives, there is a fundamental element that cannot be ignored: intention. Jung and many other spiritual thinkers pointed out that the universe seems to respond to the clarity of our thoughts, desires, and purposes. When we align our mind, heart, and actions, we create a kind of resonance that attracts significant events and encounters. Intention acts as a beacon, sending signals to the universe about what we are seeking, even unconsciously. It's as if the energy field around us is shaped by our thoughts and emotions, influencing the way we interact with the world. However, for this to work effectively, it is essential that the intention is genuine and deeply connected to our values and what truly matters. Imagine you are in a moment of searching for answers, purpose, or connection. By setting a clear intention, whether through prayer, affirmation, or simple reflection, you create an opening that allows synchronicity to come into action. This doesn't mean the results will be immediate or exactly as you imagine, but that the universe will begin to respond in ways that challenge linear logic. A classic example is when you are reflecting on an important decision, and on the same day, you come across a phrase in a book, a conversation, or even a billboard that seems to speak directly to you. This is not a hollow coincidence. It's the universe responding to your intention. But to notice these signs, you need to cultivate a state of mindfulness and trust, allowing the answers to reveal themselves. Daily practices can help align your intentions with the universal flow. Start the day with a short meditation focusing on what you want to bring into your life. Write your intentions in a journal, using clear and specific words. Throughout the day, practice presence, observing your emotions, thoughts, and the small events happening around you. At the end of the day, reflect on the coincidences or alignments that appeared. The issue is not just what you are seeking, but how you are seeking it. The universe responds to authenticity. If your intentions are aligned with your true self, synchronicities flow naturally. The message here is clear. The universe is always listening, but are you truly communicating what you desire consciously? And more importantly, are you prepared to hear the responses? Synchronicity leads us to a deep truth. We are all connected to something greater than ourselves. Jung called this unus mundus, or one world, the idea that at a fundamental level all reality is unified, despite our fragmented perception. Synchronicity is a manifestation of this interconnectedness, a window through which we can see beyond the boundaries we typically draw between ourselves and the universe. Think for a moment about the vastness of the cosmos. Stars, planets, galaxies, and invisible forces operate in perfect harmony, governed by laws that we don't fully understand. And yet, here we are, human beings, carrying within our bodies elements that were formed in stars billions of years ago. We are an expression of this same cosmic order. It is not surprising, then, that synchronicities serve as a reminder that we are not just isolated individuals, but parts of a universal tapestry. This perception is not new. Spiritual traditions around the world have always pointed to this intrinsic connection between human beings and the whole. The Hindu concept of Brahman, the universal absolute, and the Buddhist idea of interdependence reflect the same truth. Nothing exists apart from the rest. Synchronicity, therefore, is not just a psychological or spiritual phenomenon. It is evidence that, at the deepest level, everything is intertwined. In moments when synchronicity occurs, it is as if the veil between the material and the immaterial is briefly lifted, revealing a broader reality. An unexpected encounter, a dream that connects with a future event, or a recurring symbol that appears at the exact moment we need it. All of these events remind us that we are navigating in a sea of interconnected meanings. But this connection also calls us to responsibility. If everything is interconnected, our actions, thoughts, and intentions do not just affect our lives, but also ripple through the whole. How we choose to live, how we treat each other, and how we relate to the world is an expression of this interconnectedness. Synchronicity asks us not only to see the patterns but also to align with them, contributing to the balance and harmony of the unus mundus. And perhaps the greatest message of synchronicities is this: you are never alone. No matter how disconnected or lost you may feel, these meaningful coincidences arise to remind you that there is a greater flow, a subtle intelligence guiding and supporting your journey. The universe is not indifferent, it is in constant dialogue with you. Your task is simply to learn to listen and respond. At the end of this reflective journey on synchronicity, we are led to a crucial point, recognizing that life in its essence is a constant dialogue between the visible and the invisible. Synchronicities are not just isolated events that astonish or intrigue us. They are stars that illuminate our path, offering clues, comfort, and often a renewed sense of purpose. Every synchronicity you experience is an opportunity to deepen your relationship with the universe and with yourself. They remind us that life is not a series of disconnected events, but a tapestry rich in patterns and meanings. The challenge is to learn to see this tapestry, to decipher the messages it carries, and above all, to trust that we are always being guided, even in the most difficult moments. So the invitation is this: pay more attention. Pay attention to the small signs, the unexpected encounters, the recurring symbols, and the coincidences that seem to whisper something important. Pay attention to how you feel, react, and connect with these moments, and allow yourself to interpret what they mean for you. Because synchronicity, at its core, is a dance between you and the universe, a choreography that only reveals itself when you open up to it. I invite you now to reflect. What synchronicities have you already experienced in your life? What messages or meanings did they bring to your journey? Share your experiences in the comments. Your story may inspire others to see the signs in their own lives. If this message resonated with you, remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Here we explore together the path of self-knowledge and spirituality, uncovering the connections that make life so rich and meaningful. Share this content with someone who might also benefit from this message. After all, when we illuminate our shadows, we inspire others to do the same. Remember, synchronicities not only light the way, they show us that we never walk alone. Every meaningful coincidence is a reminder that we are connected to the whole, and that there is a greater flow guiding our journey. Thank you for being here, and until the next encounter.